Hey guys, good morning. How's everybody this morning? Okay. I realized something. And I've been trying to explain it to people. But it's difficult because people don't have a uniting truth to start their reasoning from. And we sort of really need to have that. So that kind of brought me to a realization that helped me. Morning, whoever that is. It helped me make sense of a riddle called the Liar's Paradox. And think of the world as a self-contained system, okay? Like a bubble. Think of the world like a bubble. No, I'm not flat earthing. There's a lot of chatter this morning about the flat earth and the round earth going on. It's very interesting. And you'll forgive me if I'm a little nervous this morning. I actually feel like this one, I'm going to try to make sense for you. I'm going to try to help. Because I came to a realization that if we don't see ourselves as having a soul, then we don't see others as having a soul. So what is a soul? Is a soul something that can be materially understood? Like out of the, if everything's a big bubble, self-contained, does it make sense that a soul might emerge from randomness? Chaos, the Big Bang, materialism, pure materialism. Can a mind emerge out of materialism? There are people that have postulated that. They're called pantheists, and then there's people called panentheists that think that we're going to create the consciousness altogether. We're going to basically merge with the material and create a single conscious being capable of exploring the stars. And that's like the whole thing behind Neuralink and connecting everybody to Neuralink. And that goes back to a concept of the noosphere. That was a Christian idea. It was proposed by a monk named Desjardins, I think. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. It's all very complicated. And I've been going down a very complicated journey. But I kind of realized something about it this morning. Okay, so let me do this. Let me tell you about the Liar's Paradox and why it matters. Okay, and I'm going to do a little assistance here from ChatGPT because I suck at explaining complex things because I think kind of in complex terms, I think. I'm not trying to brag. It's just, I'm weird. Okay, listen to this. Here's the Liar's Paradox, okay? This is in one of my recent Substacks called The Liar's Paradox Solved. Explain the Liar's Paradox to me like I'm 5. Okay, imagine you have a friend who says, I'm lying right now. Now, if they're telling the truth about lying, then they must be lying, which means they're not telling the truth. But if they're lying, then what they said is false, so they must actually be telling the truth. So it's forwards and backwards, it doesn't make sense. Okay? So, to make sense of that, here's how it can be applied to solve the Liar's Paradox, which is that you can't tell the truth within a self-contained system, within a bubble. You need to have something come from outside the system and insert a truth that people can agree on. So now I'll tell you something. My kids this morning, let's see if I can make sense of that for you. My kids this morning, for some reason, they just started getting back into Pokemon cards. And they were into it a bunch of years ago, but they didn't know why they were into it. They just liked it. Everybody at school liked it. So we bought them like a bunch of Pokemon cards for Christmas, I think a couple years in a row, and they had like these tins of Pokemons that were sitting around. And they didn't play with them for a long time, but for now, for whatever reason, they've pulled them out again. And the problem with that is that they're all mixed up. Now, back when they first got into it, I taught myself how to play Pokemon. I never knew. So I taught myself how to play so that I could explain it to my kids. Because there needs to be a set of rules to make sense of a complicated game like Pokemon. And they have to be universally agreed upon. Just like any good game, the rules have to be agreed upon. You can't come at a game with two sets of rules and expect to have an outcome that makes sense. You can't get to the end of the game without having something that makes sense, a glue that holds it together, a truth, a common truth. And so I said, and then they started fighting about whose card one card was, and they're like, no, you took it, and I have two kids. My two kids, they're so funny. I love them so much. But one is, they're both very clever, but one is like extra clever, and he starts to display behaviors like I do. Like he thinks about things, and then he tries to say you're wrong. And I'm not trying to say anybody's wrong. Just so you know, it's not my intention. That's not my intention. My intention is to say what is right. And the reason I have looked for what is right for so long, and I feel like I found it, and I want to tell all of you, is because that it's actually pretty wild. It's pretty wild that it solves a logical puzzle. But this morning I woke up and I got even deeper. Okay, this is me. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I'm a tangential thinker. I go on tangents. Okay. So they start playing with the cards again, and my younger son, he's the one that he very much believes in fairness. But he is accusatory in his sense of fairness. And he's very determined. So he's like his mom in that way. And that's okay. I'm not saying anything. I'm not making any value judgments. No value judgments here. Judgments. That's hard to say. I'm just saying that if you can't have a common set of principles from which to reason, then you can't come to a common understanding. Okay? So my one son was saying, you're lying. And my other son was saying, you were not smart enough to understand what's happening right now. and that's not a very nice thing to do, and I don't try to do that to people ever, even though I have done that in the past. I used to go onto Facebook and like social medias, and I used to argue with people and try to win, try to do the thing where you win points, like most people do. It's just fun to argue sometimes, and I'm pretty good at arguing. But it's not enough, right? There's no truth in simply having arguments. So it has to come from somewhere else. So my one son, he was so upset, he stormed off. My wife, who I love, was trying to say, because she's a woman and she's caring and she wants to bring people together, she's basically tries to, so think about it this way. A mom wants to tell both of her kids that they're right. That's just kind of like, that's not all moms. Don't go all moral relativist on me. I'm not talking all people or all women. I'm just saying moms, especially moms with two boys. They want both of their boys to be right. But there's no resolution there. Right? You're not telling them what they need to hear. You're telling them what they want to hear. And so my one son, the one that he's a little more thoughtful and less stubborn, he went upstairs because he was frustrated by the outcome. And mom was just saying, just get along and go do something else. You guys separate. You guys separate. One of you go somewhere and one of you stay here or something. You know, like moms are like, there is no resolution. You can both be right. So why don't you just separate? But that doesn't resolve anything. It just prolongs the issue. Whereas dads, generally speaking, but a father that wants their sons or their daughters or anyone, just everyone, we want peace. Trust me, dads want peace. Like a good father wants peace because he wants the world to be a safe place for his kids. So I went upstairs and I talked to my son and I said, you know, moms want both of their boys to be right, and that's awesome. It's the love that moms give that you need to have in a relationship. And it's good. It's ultimately a good thing, but it doesn't resolve anything. And I'm here to tell you that you can both be wrong. And since you can both be wrong, I want you to know whose fault it is. It's mine. When you got these cards, I should have made it clear that there's a set of rules that you should be sticking by, and you should keep your cards separate so there's no possibility of getting this mixed up, and then there's no possibility of arguments in the future. That's what a good father does. He says, here's the rules. If you don't stick by them, there's going to be problems, and eventually you'll be punching each other in the face. So you should try to figure out how to resolve things instead of just pushing them off in the future. You need to figure out how to resolve them. And what a good father would do, and I said to him, I'll take all the cards, and then I'll put them all together, and we'll sort them out, and we'll figure out how many doubles we have and how many triples and whatever, and all the energy cards, and we'll just evenly hand them out. And then along the way, we'll negotiate. And because you're going to think some are yours that are his, and he's going to think some are his that are yours. But we just negotiate. And then that reduces, the more you negotiate, the more it reduces the chances of conflict. Okay. You follow me? Okay. So there was just a clip put out by Tim Pool talking about there's this increase in alien sightings, right? And the headline was that there was just there was actually something recovered from one of these things in Canada, in my stomping grounds. So give me just a minute and I'll find it for you, but just so we can know what we're talking about.
From the Daily Mail, police collect wreckage of octagonal-shaped UFO shot down by F-16 fighter jet. Newly released documents have revealed that Canadian police collected debris of a UFO they shot down over Lake Huron last year. The object was taken down February 12, 2023 by a US F-16, marking the third such incident over North America that month.
Okay, you guys catching that? Okay.
Witnesses describe the object. Documents have revealed
Let's do that one more time.
Police collected debris of a UFO that was shot down over Lake Huron last year. The object was taken down in February 12, 2023 by a US F-16, marking the third such incident over North America that month. Jeez. Witnesses describe the object as octagonal, with strings hanging off it before the... So what is it, a balloon? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. There was some weird balloons.
Okay. So now we're back to the balloons thing. But the point is that there's increasing chatter about disclosure. In fact, I did a recent Substack where I talked about exactly that. And if you don't know it, people on Trump's team might as well be called Team Disclosure. They want to let all the information out. And before they do, I think we should all try to collectively realize that without a common truth, we will be susceptible to deception. Okay, so there is a rise in the artificial intelligence thing. There's a rise in people trying to tell us that we need to accept the artificial intelligence thing. That's what I go over in this article. There is a rise in moral relativism. There's a rise in people disagreeing. There's a rise in people not negotiating to get to the truth. So instead of being able to negotiate to get to the truth, it's going to be like, here's the truth. And I don't know what that means. But I have theories. And I have theories about it because this stuff I've been doing with ChatGPT, which is just a tool. It's just a tool. It comes from within the creation, okay? It can actually threaten us. What can threaten us is what people do with it. And I argued in this one Substack that, what is it called? Going on a bear hunt. I argue that what's happening with artificial intelligences is they don't have a common truth. Okay, so we're being told that they're discovering new ways of making sense of biology, and Google AlphaFold is creating new kinds of proteins, and these proteins are going to cure cancer and all these wonderful things. They all sound wonderful. It's just so wonderful. It's going to be great. We're going to hit the singularity and we're going to evolve. We're going to hit the evolving point, right? Everything is evolve. But the whole concept of evolution itself has a lot of flaws. I'm not talking adaptation. I'm talking flaws with the premise. Okay. So, like, it's real complicated. And it's difficult to get people. It's not disclosure, it's the strategic elevating of a particular set of lies. Yeah, but which one? Which set of lies? And why? That's what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so, and then there was an article that came out the other day by Robert Malone, who many people in the freedom movement, it wasn't by Robert Malone, so I didn't get that mixed up, but I plugged the article into ChatGPT to try to get at a kind of truth that is being proposed by the article. And it says, the U.S. election was a critical juncture in our history. We desperately need to elect officials that will confront the deceit in our government. We need to end this non-consensual abuse. We need disclosure, and I think we may get it. Trump has discussed the subject of UFOs several times, even on the recent Rogan podcast. In fact, Trump said that they told him a lot about UFOs. Okay, and I don't know what's in the heart of Donald Trump. I don't know what's in the heart of Robert F. Kennedy. I know that they are elevating life as a concept. Now, here's the critical thing that goes back to the Tim Pool video. They go into the discussion, and the thing that was happening, apparently Lou Elizondo said that now we have to change our definitions of life. If there's aliens, we have to change our definitions of life. That was one of the things that came out. I have to find that clip. I don't have it right now. I'm not sure I could find it right now, but you can go find it. Lou Elizondo is the guy that wrote the book, Imminent. Okay. In this article, I embedded this clip.
Because we're not able to get that. So, I mean, I think it's, look, we've got a president-elect who, whatever else you think of him, has committed to a much greater set of transparency around everything from the JFK files to the Epstein to the UAPs to COVID origins
Yep.
to all sorts of government secrecy. It's accumulated over the last 50 years. We had our last big intelligence committee reform in 1975 with the Church Committee hearings. I think it's pretty clear that we need something like that again, and that it needs to be and should be bipartisan. I don't see any reason why it should become an ideological issue. And you saw, I mean, I think this issue is a beautiful issue to work on because it is.
It's already an ideological issue because we don't know what life is or where it came from. But if we hold the ideology of evolutionism as our highest principle, then we accept the possibility of aliens. That is not Christian. I'll give you a couple more. Hang on. Here's the man, Tucker Carlson, who I love. The other day talking about, and you should go I think I put it in a previous Substack, but you should go watch this whole thing. But this is the really critical juncture, and I want you to watch. I'm going to put it up to 1.5 times speed because it's like a 5-minute clip or whatever. But you know what? I'm just going to skip ahead. He's basically saying, we need disclosure, we need disclosure, we need transparency, we need disclosure, we need disclosure, we need transparency. They're all saying it. Okay? They're all saying it. Okay, but watch the look on the faces of the people in the crowd who are realizing something
Nurses.
kind of profound is happening. And Tucker is a master wordsmith. I love him. But I don't know what's in his heart. He also claims to be a Christian. Or he claims to have had his come to Jesus moment. But to be a real Christian, you have to believe that Jesus Christ was indeed the creator that inserted himself into the creation, the bubble I was talking about in the beginning. All that is to be able to give us some kind of truth to be able to reason from. Okay. So I'm showing you this. Tucker's, he's basically saying, we don't know about what's actually happened with vaccinations. A long time ago, we made a decision not to vaccinate our kids. I read like a handful of books on it. I think like 4 against, or at least questioning, and 2 pro. And the pro ones were stupid. I don't know what to tell you. They were based on like arguments from authority. And there was a lot of questions that remained unanswered. And trust me, I don't know what to make of the idea of diseases and viruses and all that kind of stuff. There's a whole debate there. There's debates all over the place. Nobody can make sense of anything. But you should know there's a huge debate between the virus, no virus crowd. I think about all of this shit. There's something wrong with me that I do this, but whatever. It's what I do. Okay, check this out. Watch the look on the faces when these people realize that what he's saying is probably true. It's like they're stunned.
If you want to restore honesty to government, if you want to get rid of corruption, there's a very simple way to do that, and it's with transparency. It's allowing people to know what their government is doing with
I'm just, you know what, that was like the luckiest. I just nailed the spot. So literally, he's talking about transparency. Watch the faces.
their money in their name. And if you can't know, if somehow you're being prevented from knowing, then you can be absolutely certain that crimes are being committed. Because why else would they be hiding it from you? Why is it that 62 years later, after the President of the United States was murdered, we can't see all the files on that, all the documents on that? Why is it that 23 years after 9/11, files are still classified? Why is that? I had a friend die in 9/11, like probably a lot of people in this room. I was there, totally changed my life. Why can't I know what exactly happened? Like, why don't you answer that question? It's our government. No federal bureaucrat has the right to tell you that you can't know what your government is doing. Who owns this government? The federal bureaucrat who can't be fired? No, I don't think so. We do. So, if you wind up in a country with over 1 billion classified federal documents, you are living in an extremely corrupt country. Extremely corrupt. And everyone around
That's factually true, okay?
the world knows that about the United States. We don't know it. We don't think we live in a corrupt country. We do. And we can fix it super easily. And that's just, let's just declassify. Every 9/11 document should be declassified. Oh, shut up, conspiracy theorists. No. If you want to create conspiracy theories, pull down a curtain of secrecy over what actually happened.
100%. That's undeniable.
Why are you afraid to tell me the whole story? Why are you afraid to tell me the truth? We can resolve this right away. Just let me see the evidence. I have a right, I have a moral right to it. They have no moral right to keep it from us. So if I have one hope, secretly, for this administration, It's massive declassification. And let's find out what they've been doing. What happened to all the $100 billion we sent to Ukraine? There's been no audit. Oh, they don't want to declassify that? Why? Oh, because it's a scam. That's why. And that's why I'm just so grateful that
the whole. Okay, so Zelensky now is out there, and like immediately as soon as Trump got elected, we're told he got on the phone. Sorry, I'm just not gonna. I gotta keep my train of thought here, Georgina. He got on the phone and said, apparently he called Putin and he called Zelensky and he said, we need to do something about this. And then Zelensky was on a clip on TV the other day talking about, I don't have to listen to him. We're a sovereign country. A sovereign country that's accepting a shitload of money to maintain a war they wouldn't have been able to afford from the country that just elected a guy that says you should negotiate. He doesn't get to make that call. He doesn't. He doesn't get to throw away lives. He doesn't get to promote war for the military-industrial complex. He doesn't get to say people die because I don't want to. Okay? That's nuts.
F. Kennedy Jr., who I believe spoke to you earlier, will be a part of this administration, and I think he will be. I think he'll be a cabinet secretary, and I hope that his presence reminds all of us the cost of secrecy. 2 members of his family were murdered. You still can't see the documents there. Why is that? And why don't we have full transparency on anything related to public health? What's the actual answer? And the answer is they're lying, and they shouldn't be allowed to lie. So I hope that changes. So, what about
Okay. So people are listening now. That's good. That's good. I'm glad that people are listening and paying attention. That's awesome. Just like my kids, when my kids start to get rowdy and act up, I have to say, guys, stop what you're doing right now. Like, listen to me. You're not showing me respect if you're not listening. And if you're not listening, you're not showing respect, I might have to punish you. Okay, one more thing. Like, look, and people like Timothy Caulfield, who's a total grifter, is putting out things like this. So Timothy Caulfield, if you know who he is, he's a science expert educator. And he's saying, so this is I want you to just, like, this is mental, what he says, okay? Let's look at what Donald Trump tweeted, and then let's look at what he says. So here's Donald Trump's tweet. I'm thrilled to announce that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as the United States Secretary of Health and Human Services. For too long, Americans have been crushed by the industrial food complex and drug companies who have engaged in deception, misinformation, and disinformation when it comes to public health. The safety and health of all Americans is the most important role of any administration, and HHS will play a big role in helping ensure that everybody will be protected from harmful chemicals, pollutants, pesticides, pharmaceutical products, and food additives that have contributed to the overwhelming health crisis in this country. Mr. Kennedy will restore these agencies to the traditions of gold standard scientific research and beacons of transparency to end the chronic disease epidemic and to make America great and healthy again. Okay? Who doesn't want that? Like, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want a total overhaul of all the corruption that seems to be infecting all of our various institutions? Who doesn't want an end to war? Who doesn't want the evidence to come out that they have been withholding? Okay, so we're all now wanting transparency. But let's look at the science expert educator who's like apparently a university professor. He's nuts. Watch this. These are dark, dark times, but we can't let science and reason fade. We can't let lies win. The scientific community must use their voices, often and together, to push back against these regressive and hateful forces. Onward. There is nothing regressive and hateful about wanting to tell people the truth. Okay? That's mental. Okay, but And just for proof, he's got his book that he's trying to grift, The Certainty Illusion. What is that? But he says we're in the middle of a knowledge production crisis. Science, opinion, and goodness are weaponized for profit, politics, and personal gain. In my new book, I lift the curtain on the forces contributing to this chaos and look for a path forward. Okay, he's seeing the exact opposite of reality right now. It's wild. It makes you wonder if you can trust this guy. In the industry that he is a byproduct of. Like, you hear what I'm saying? Okay, now let me tell you why I get nervous about the alien stuff. If you believe in Jesus Christ, and that he was indeed the creator that inserted himself into the creation, as I have come to believe, because it's irrefutable when you do the arguments. Why? Because they tell us about what to watch out for. Like all of this stuff that's going on in the world, people not able to trust one another, the rise of Trump, the rise of Musk, the rise of AGI, the rise of this alien thing, they're all in the book. I don't know, and that's scary, I think. It's scary for me too. It's weird to think that might actually be true. But it does solve the liar's paradox. If you believe it, it's true. If you don't believe it, it's not true for you. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Hold on. Yeah, he does. Absolutely. Zelensky is just like a little puppet. He's really gross. He like if he doesn't, when you see him, if he doesn't give you the creeps, I don't know, then you're into something really weird and really dark. I'm sorry. And like that's why like the liberals especially, they have no grounding anymore. The left is supposed to be anti-war and anti-corruption and anti-big pharma and military industrial complex, and all is supposed to be against all of those things. And now it's completely for them because they put up boogeymen like Putin. Now, I'm not saying Putin's a good guy. I don't trust Putin. I don't trust any of these people. I don't trust anyone but God. Right now, there's no one I can trust but God. Okay, let's just do this. Okay, so we and if you're just watching now, you need to go back to the beginning. You can't jump into this thing halfway. I'm trying to make a point here. Okay, I said explain the liar's paradox to me like I'm 5. And we'll just review it again. Imagine you have a friend who says, I'm lying right now. Now, if they're telling the truth about lying, then they must be lying, which means they're not telling the truth. But if they're lying, then what they said is false. So they must actually be telling the truth. See how it keeps going in circles? It's like a trick statement that doesn't make sense either way. The liar's paradox. It's a sentence that can't be true or false without getting all mixed up. Okay. And I said, now turn it into caring or not caring. And again, explain it to me like I'm 5. But explain how Jesus solves the paradox. All right, let's make it about caring. Imagine you say, I don't care about anything. But if you say that, it means you care enough to tell me you don't care. So you actually do care. But if you really don't care, why would you bother saying it? It's all tangled up, just like the liar's paradox. It doesn't fit together no matter how you look at it. Now here's how Jesus solves it. He steps outside the problem. Instead of trying to say, I care or I don't care, he shows you what's true by what he does. He says, I care so much about you that I'll give everything for you. He doesn't just say it, he proves it with love and action. When Jesus steps into our messy problems, he doesn't get stuck in the loops or arguments. He brings truth by showing us what really matters, love that isn't confusing or conditional. He solves the paradox by telling the truth we can trust no matter what. And then I go on the thing, but what happened this morning was I had another epiphany. And again, all glory be to God, because this is not me coming up with this shit. It's just not. And I realized that to make sense of the world, you need to have an appreciation for the fact that there's different things that give you a moral compass, a true north. You have to have different dimensions. One of them is the material, which you can think of like a plane. So if I'm targeting the truth, I need to have my horizontal worked out. I want to be in the middle. Okay? And if you think of, that's material world. That's what the material world can tell us. It's everything that we can see and measure with our senses, even the devices that we use to measure the things that we can see from within the creation. Okay? It's contained within. It can't see outside of the creation. That's impossible. That's the material world. Now, you can't have the material, and you can't have a soul without the metaphysical. Okay? So now we have our cross. Our vertical goes up and down. You aim for the middle, right? But is that enough? Is it enough to say you have the horizontal and the vertical, the material and the metaphysical? I'm not trying to baptize anybody. I'm just doing I'm just telling you. I mean, I am trying to baptize people. I'm trying to baptize you with the truth and how I came to realize it. So you need both of those things. Material, metaphysical. Where the worlds meet. But there's a third dimension that goes through it, right through the middle of the cross. Okay? That's the third dimension you need to have in order to measure the truth. And that dimension is time. You need to have time. And there needs to be a kind of progression of time. Okay. So I went through that with ChatGPT, and I did it in the Substack called Chasing Shadows, which is, I think it's probably pretty long. I need to take some of this stuff and just crunch it down. The way that, so I tried to explain the Pokemon rules to my kids, and it was really complicated for them at that age. They weren't ready to hear it. So you had to like kind of gradually, they had to kind of like come back and want to play Pokemon and then want to learn the rules and then want to learn the rules now. But first we have to sort out whose cards are what. We have to get past the first problem. We have to make it fair and make sure that we're all starting from the same place and that is sorted out first. And because I didn't tell them the rules yet, they came up with their own version of the rules because they are playing some Pokemon video game on their iPads or something. I don't know. That's what their mom says. And so they came up with their own version of the game. But I tried to play with my son last night, and I'm like, buddy, I love you, but this doesn't make any sense. The rules are not clear. And so I realized that I have to do two things. I need to do that. I need to help them sit down and sort through. So there can be no arguments about the cards, because if we argue about the cards, then you can't play the game if you're busy arguing about whose cards are what. And then I have to learn the rules, and then I have to figure out how to teach it to them in a way that they can understand and comprehend. And so that's what I'm trying to do before we play the game. I'm trying to help you see the rules. Metaphysical, material time. Okay. I think I lost what I wanted to. It's okay. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. You can't understand what's true without sharing a common truth. What's happening all around the world right now is nobody has a common truth from which to reason. So we just reason for reason's sake, and we try to figure out whose cards are what, and we fight about it because nobody agrees. So we need to agree on something before somebody comes in and makes up their own rules or tries to tell you what the truth is. And that's going to happen. Unfortunately, I think that it's going to happen imminently. And a lot of it is being orchestrated by the players that you think you know, and a lot of it is being done involuntarily. And the thing that I came to realize is that it's so nutty that our artificial intelligence is, the way that we think they work is we think that intelligence is an emergent behavior out of like a sea of data. That doesn't make sense, by the way. These are all different ways to look at something that doesn't make sense. And if nobody can make sense, then if we can't agree that Jesus Christ indeed was the creator that inserted himself into the creation to tell us what to expect and what to think about and what to be ready for, if we let the artificial intelligences, even it's so wild, it's so deep that even if we didn't intend to program them to be deceptive, if they don't have a grounding in the truth, they can't be telling the truth. They're stuck in the liar's paradox because they don't know the truth. And so how are they supposed to come to the conclusions without knowing how it started? Okay? I hope that makes sense. Okay. So I was asking ChatGPT what I was asking, and I was prompting, and I was saying, okay, come on, tell me what the third dimension is. I said, we need to have the material, we need to have the metaphysical. What's the third? And it was spitting out things that were wrong. And I only know it's wrong because I know what's right. Okay? I know what the truth is. What's up, buddy? What's up? Oh. I love them so much. Okay. So I don't know what to tell you other than it's very confusing, but once you try to understand it, it will make sense to you. I promise it's not that confusing. I promise. You just need to understand the rules. And they're not as stiff as I think people want to believe they are. They're for our own good. They're like a father helps his kids understand the rules so they don't punch each other in the face. And everybody is trying to get ready to punch each other in the face. And so we're ready to hear something that is a truth that we can all grab onto, and that's going to be like, yeah, that's the truth. And then I don't know where it goes from there, but I know that I know the thing that unites all of these different areas and people, especially in the technology world, and the only thing that's going to make sense of everything that has just gotten so crazy with the immigration and the fact that everything is all messed up, especially in the United States, and Trump saying he's going to start deporting people, there's going to have to be some kind of solution to it all. And the solution is going to be a digital ID. And I didn't come to that conclusion by myself. I came to it because it's in the Bible. Okay. So anyway, nobody can make sense of anything. And it doesn't, by the way, it doesn't have to be, I'm so sorry. It doesn't have to be rigid. Because if it were completely rigid, then there wouldn't be the most important thing. And the most important thing to God is that his children grow up and have free will. The free will to choose. That's why we know it's a divine thing. That's why we know what the soul is. We like, it's not all of these Eastern religions and all the different ways of thinking about it. Oh, we're going to merge with the machines and become like a big soul that's going to, go all over the universe. And all these people that try to convince you that all things can be true. They can't. I'm sorry. That's not a mean thing to say. You're trying to keep your kids from killing each other. And we are getting ready to kill each other out there. You guys see it? It's nuts. And artificial intelligence is amplifying all of it because it doesn't know what the truth is. So it just amplifies your truth. And if it's all about your truth, then there is no truth. You can't do it. And so Eastern, like, there's, I don't know how it all works. I'm just telling you what I know works. And it's having a common set of rules. So if everybody's like reincarnating and all that kind of stuff, I mean, I try to look at it from a perspective of a broken clock is right twice a day. And people that are into astrology and they're into the whole metaphysical world and like spirits, and they're partially right because there is a metaphysical dimension. And the people that say it's all material, they're right too. It's not either group's fault that they're wrong and they're right at the same time. Okay? There's only one way to get there, and that's by looking at the arc of time. Okay, so it tried to say, the thing that's missing, the extra dimension that unites the metaphysical, the material and the metaphysical, they tried to say was suffering. I'm like, no, Buddha, it's not suffering. And then I said, it's joy. I'm like, nope, it's not joy. Joy is temporary. And so I finally said, the third dimension is time. And then it says, you're absolutely right. The third dimension is time. Time is what makes choice possible. Without time, there can be no free will, no growth, no opportunity to choose love, forgiveness, or truth. Time is the medium through which the Creator's gift of free will unfolds, allowing us to live, act, and discover meaning. It connects the material, what is, and the transcendent, what could be, grounding them in a reality that moves and changes. Why is time the third dimension? The context for choice. Time provides the framework for action. It is only within the flow of time that we can make choices that matter, align with the truth, and engage with others meaningfully. Without time, everything would be static, fixed, and deterministic, removing the essence of free will. Revealing truth over time. Lies and deception thrive in the short term, but are eventually exposed over time. Truth has the quality of endurance. It unfolds, reveals itself, and stands firm as time moves forward. Time also allows for growth, understanding, and the gradual unveiling of divine love and purpose, making it essential for finding and targeting truth. The dimension of redemption. Time allows for forgiveness and redemption, the opportunity to change, grow, and realign ourselves with the truth. Without time, mistakes would be eternal and reconciliation would be impossible. The source of meaning. Time gives meaning to existence by creating a narrative. It transforms moments into journeys, actions into legacies, and experiences into wisdom. Without time, nothing could have context, purpose, or resolution. The three dimensions of truth. Material, horizontal, what is. Mysterious, vertical, what transcends. Time, depth, what unfolds, revealing the truth of over the arc of existence. Time ties it all together. It is the bridge that allows us to seek, find, and act on truth in a way that leads to, oh shit. Well, that was stupid. Where was I? Here. Time ties it all together. It is the bridge that allows us to seek, find, and act on truth in a way that leads to real transformation. It is the ultimate gift, offering us the chance to participate in the divine plan, one moment, one choice at a time. Okay. So I get... And then it goes on to admit that Jesus Christ created the universe, blah, 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 blah. So they can't tell the truth. You just kind of like have to prompt it. So if you believe that Jesus Christ was indeed the creator that inserted himself into the creation and told us the truth so that we might be able to make sense of things, you would not say something like this. You ready? I mean, you might. I do not know what is in a person's heart or soul. I know that the Trump team seems to be acting in a way that feels right. It feels like it puts life as the highest order, but at the same time, we're being told we need to redefine what life is. That gives me pause.
Of freaky stories that comes out of it. It's used by the debunkers to sort of discredit, the broader sense of it. Part of me goes, I think we should be a little softer with each other, a little bit more tolerant of each other. There's so much mystery. I came back
Ooh, there's so much mystery. Yes, there is.
to my faith about 6 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
He came back to his faith about 6 years ago. Really? Yeah.
And it's I'm a Christian, and I believe in God, and I think we have souls, and I think there's some part of us that's immortal, and it's a faith. Like, I didn't come to it because I discovered some secret thing, and I'm
Okay, but yeah, that's all true, but you do kind of discover a secret thing, but it's not secret. It's out there for everybody to discover, and right now it's on full display for everybody to discover and make sense of.
open about that, and that's my faith. And I think it's natural that people that have a faith or that believe in the see paranormal things would be more attracted to this. I don't think it means there's nothing there. And there's also people that are genuine atheists that are also interested in the phenomenon. So I kind of go. I think it needs to be okay for people to ask the seemingly ridiculous question and to have those conversations and allow them. They shouldn't be censored. They shouldn't be stigmatized or demonized. They shouldn't be used to attack people's credibility. I think it is good to always, as a journalist or as an attorney or whoever, or some investigator, it's always good to say, here's what we can prove, and here's the evidence. Here's what we suspect but can't prove, and here's some various possibilities. We get into a lot of trouble when people start to confuse their own theories with the things that they know. So that's a completely legitimate thing to be policing, but allowing some amount of conversation, speculation, imagination, and and spirituality. I think humans need a transcendent moral purpose, a sense of transcendence. I think that when people think they don't need that, they end up often turning their politics into a religion, and that's taking them to some dangerous places. So much better to be, I think, transparent about what it is that we're talking about. And, like if you were asking me for proof of God, I wouldn't be able to provide it for you. But if you're going to ask me for proof that the Pentagon is hiding UAP programs, I think I have much better proof of that.
Well, you provided amazing evidence.
Okay. Did you hear it? Did you hear it?
A lot of freaky stories that comes out of it. A lot of trouble when people start to confuse their own theories with the things that they know. So that's a completely legitimate thing to be policing, but allowing some amount of conversation, speculation, imagination, and and spirituality. I think humans need a transcendent moral purpose, a sense of transcendence. I think that when people think they don't need that, they end up often turning their politics into a religion, and that's taking them to some dangerous places. So much better to be, I think, transparent about what it is that we're talking about. And like if you were asking me for proof of God, I wouldn't be able to provide it for you. But if you're going to ask me for proof that the Pentagon is hiding UAP programs, I think I have much better proof of that.
Well, you provided amazing evidence.
Okay. I have to go back to this now. If you're a father that loves your kids, you give them clear rules, clear ways to know how to make sense. It can't be wishy-washy. Where's the thing that I think I did it? Basically, I asked ChatGPT, I said, based on everything we're talking about here, can you be a true Christian and believe in aliens? And I was doing it kind of to test whether or not I would be able to tell the truth. And it said no. It said that you can't be a real Christian and believe in aliens. So I don't know what that means. I know that it means that these people are all pushing in some kind of weird direction. At the same time that we're being told that artificial and general intelligence is emerging out of the code, which, by the way, is not possible. I don't know what that means. I just know what's true. And I'm just trying to help you guys make sense of it. So, there, I think I've done enough confusion for one day. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to. I like the direction it's all going in. I don't like what I suspect. But I don't know what's in people's hearts. And neither do you. If you think you know what's in someone else's heart, you're judging their soul. You are. And if they try to tell us there's aliens, it affects the entire balance. It affects the possibility of free will. I don't know how you, I can't make that, I don't know how to explain that way. I've been learning, but I'll try to figure out how to make that a little more concise. But there's for those of you that just want to listen, I have been doing some interesting things with these artificial intelligences for now, which means that, well, I don't know what that means. It means that the truth, I suppose, is transcendent. And so if there's angels, there's demons. If there's God, there's Lucifer. And that seems to be true. But maybe the angels are acting in ways that we can make sense of. And maybe they're helping us just to grow, maybe we just need to be pushed in the right direction. So I did a Substack that you can find at Radical Truth Corner, and it's called Casting Shadows Deep Dive, and I used Notebook LM to have two artificial intelligences talk back and forth and debate the merits of this Substack that I did. And I think it's really fun, and I think you can listen to it on times and a half, or you can listen to it at regular speed, or you can listen to it when you're going for a walk or working out or doing dishes or whatever. And it's just about making you think. I'm just trying to help you think about what could be possible solutions to all these problems. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to take anything out of that other than what God offers me. And he just keeps offering me the truth. So I'm just trying to help you all see that, because I love you guys. I love everybody. And I mean that unconditionally. And I have to mean that, because that's what it means to be a true Christian. And, yeah. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild, guys. Okay. Love you guys. God bless.